We got married in September. Small beach wedding. Her idea. I didn't really care about flowers or colors or any of that. I just wanted to marry her. I thought she was the one. Her name's Valerie. We'd been together almost 5 years, lived together for 3. Never had any real problems, at least I thought. You argue about dumb stuff sometimes, like who left the lights on or who didn't take the trash out, but nothing serious. Or at least that's what I thought. My best man was Darren. Known him since I was 13. He was my boy. We did everything together. He was there when I broke my arm in high school, when my dad passed, when I graduated trade school. We'd crashed on each other's couches more times than I can count. When I proposed to Valerie, he was the first person I told. He even helped me pick the ring. I found out later he also helped himself to something else. Let me back up. After the wedding, everything was fine, normal. We got back from our honeymoon in Cabo and I went right back to work. I do HVAC and plumbing. Long hours, random emergency calls, but it pays the bills. Valerie worked from home, some kind of digital marketing job. I never really understood what exactly she did, but it let her stay in pajamas all day, and she liked that. At first, I didn't notice anything weird. She laughed at my dumb jokes. We still had dinner together most nights. She even packed me lunch sometimes. But things started shifting around month 3. I'd come home and she'd be zoned out on her phone more. Said she was working late, but didn't look like work to me. When I'd ask who she was texting, she'd brush it off. Just Jenna or, it's nothing. One Friday night, I got home early. Job canceled. I figured we'd go out, maybe get drinks, relax. I walk in and she's on the couch, phone in hand, smiling. She didn't hear me come in. I said, "Who's got you cheesing like that?" She jumped, literally flinched, then turned the phone face down. "Nobody," she said, still smiling a little but nervous. I looked at the phone. "Let me see." She stood up, grabbed her empty glass and said, "I was talking to Jenna. Relax." That was the first real flag. The second flag came 2 weeks later when I saw Darren's name pop up on her phone screen while she was in the shower. It was a Snapchat. I stared at it. I had this weird feeling in my chest. She never used to talk to him. Not alone, not like that. I didn't open it. I didn't want to be that guy. But I should have opened it. Instead, I asked him later that weekend, real casual, like, "You been talking to Val?" He said, "Yeah, man. She asked me for help with your birthday surprise. Chill." I let it go. My birthday was coming up in 2 weeks. I figured maybe she was planning something, but nothing happened on my birthday. Not even a card. She said she got caught up with work and promised we'd do something the next weekend. I didn't make a big deal out of it. Next flag, the late night girl trips. She suddenly had plans with Jenna and Tasha on Saturday nights. Said they needed girl time. Thing is, Jenna moved to Denver 3 months ago and Tasha works night shifts at the hospital. I checked. Straight up asked her one night when I ran into her sister at the gas station. I said, "Tasha working tonight?" She said, "She always does Fridays and Saturdays." So who the hell was Valerie with? The answer hit me one night when I left work early again. We'd had a slow week. I stopped to grab wings, decided to surprise her. I came home, music was playing upstairs. Not loud, but I could hear it through the floor. I called her name, no answer. I went up, expecting her to be cleaning or something. Bedroom door was closed. I knocked. No answer. I opened it. Nobody was in there, but the window was open and our bed looked off. Pillows on the floor. Blanket half on the floor. I walked to the bathroom and saw a used condom in the trash. We hadn't used condoms in over a year. I just stood there. I waited downstairs, didn't say a word. She came back like 10 minutes later, saw me on the couch, and froze. "Hey, what are you doing home?" she asked. "I could ask you the same," I said. She lied, said she went for a walk, said she needed air, didn't even have shoes on. I went straight to the point. "Who was here?" She blinked. "What? No one." "There's a condom in the trash. You want to explain that?" Silence. Dead silence. Then she said, "I don't know what you're talking about." I laughed. I actually laughed. She started crying. Said it was old. Said maybe it was from before we moved in 2 years ago. Like I wouldn't notice that before. I didn't yell. I just said, "Tell me the truth." And she did. But she didn't tell me everything. She said she made a mistake, that it only happened once, that she was confused and in a bad headspace. All that therapy talk. I said, "Who was it?" She shook her head. "It doesn't matter." I pressed harder. "Was it someone I know?" She looked at the floor. I asked, "Was it Darren?" She didn't answer. That silence told me everything. I walked out, got in my truck, and drove straight to Darren's place. I didn't even think. I just drove. His car was there. I knocked hard. He opened the door, beer in hand, smiling like nothing was wrong. Yo, what's up, bro? I punched him, right in the mouth. He stumbled back, dropped the beer, called me crazy, asked what the hell my problem was. You're my problem, I said. You were in my f***ing bed. He tried to deny it, said I was losing it, said I had the wrong idea, but I wasn't guessing anymore. I saw the guilt all over his face. He tried to push me out of his doorway, but I shoved back. We ended up yelling in his front yard like two drunk idiots. I didn't care about the neighbors. I didn't care about the cops. I was seeing red. You were my best man, bro, I said. You stood next to me while I married her. You toasted us. You fucking smiled in my face. He kept saying it just happened once, like that made it better. Like that made it forgivable. I said, was it the day of my bachelor party? He didn't answer. So that's a yes. He looked away. That's when I really lost it. I went at him again, got a few hits in before he tackled me. We rolled around in the grass until a neighbor broke us up. Cops showed up 5 minutes later and told us to cool off. No arrests, just warnings. I left. I drove around for hours. I didn't want to go back home. I couldn't even look at that house. It felt dirty. Everything about it felt fake now. When I finally walked through the door, Valerie was on the floor, crying, holding some old picture of us. I didn't say anything, just went upstairs and started packing a bag. She followed me. Please talk to me. Please. There's nothing left to say. I made a mistake. Stop calling it that, I said. A mistake is forgetting to buy milk. You made a choice. Over and over. She cried harder, tried to hug me. I stepped back. Don't touch me. She sat on the bed, holding her face, said she didn't mean for it to happen, that it started with talking and felt harmless, that it got complicated. I asked her, how long? She hesitated. Since July. We got married in September. So yeah, they were sleeping together before the wedding, before the tux, before the vows, before the f***ing honeymoon. I said, so both of you looked me in the eye on my wedding day, knowing. She nodded, barely. I finished packing and left. Crashed at my cousin's place. I didn't answer her calls. She sent a long email 2 days later confessing everything. Apparently, it started with a few flirty texts, then one drunken kiss, and after that, they kept going. Hotel rooms, late-night walks, even my own house when I was working doubles. She said she didn't want to lose me, said it meant nothing, said Darren manipulated her, that he was good at twisting things. But I didn't care anymore. I sent her a short reply, you and him deserve each other. Then I filed for divorce. No lawyers, no court battles. We didn't own much. No kids, thank God. She signed the papers without a fight, probably out of guilt. Or maybe she was just ready to move on. I blocked both of them. Darren tried texting me from a different number 2 weeks later. Sent a message saying, man, I messed up. I'm sorry. I miss my bro. I blocked that number too. I don't need a friend like that. I don't need a woman like that either. You'd think I'd feel broken or empty after all that. But honestly, I felt free. You don't really know who's real until you find out who was faking it the whole time. A few months went by and I started feeling like myself again. Got back into the gym, picked up weekend side jobs, stayed busy, ran into Valerie once at the grocery store. She looked like she wanted to talk, but I just walked past. I heard from a mutual friend that things with Darren didn't last more than a few weeks. Guess liars don't make good couples. I don't hate them anymore. I just don't care. And honestly, that feels better than any apology ever could.